Welcome to the Monday edition of Litter Media Live. I'm Dan Ramey, he's Mike Smith, and Mr. Hand 2, Aaron Glandon, is off camera for us today. Yeah, you didn't even set this camera up, did you? Nope. Okay.
He's getting back.
And now he's not even on mic.
My hair was still wet when I was setting up, so.
Is that right?
I didn't think people would want to
So
see
is
that.
mine.
Well, you never comb it, so we can't tell whether it's wet or dry.
My hair takes forever to dry. I mean, forever.
You know how
It's
you can cure
ridiculous.
that?
I'm not shaving my head.
Cut it.
He's going to let
He's Samson.
he's going to let the natural stuff take.
His strength is in his hair.
Well, this is because, and we can't show you this because he's not on camera.
That's right.
But he's got that Jonathan Rumi look going. So, and I think he likes hanging on to that. So, do you feel like he can walk on water?
I don't know who this Jonathan Rumi person is.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you lying, Jesus?
No, I really don't know who that is.
He doesn't watch Christian movies.
You ever watched The Chosen?
I've seen The Chosen.
Yeah.
And you should
Oh, he
know who
plays Jesus?
is.
Okay.
Plays Jesus, yes.
Oh, that guy. Yeah. I was telling somebody the other day I'm going to see the latest episode. I said, that Jesus, I can't get enough of that guy. And I did not get any popcorn this time.
My
wife did.
My aunt yesterday in church says, well, in Spanish they call it Jose. I said, no, it's Jesus. Oh, that's right, yes. I think Joseph is Jose, if I'm not mistaken. All right, hi, welcome to the program. It is a Monday. We're 7 days into April. Gosh, the month is almost over. Let's take a look at how the weather is shaping up for us. It's a tad cooler outside than it has been.
But it is dry.
Yes.
And that is the high side of things because we've had a lot of rain over the last week. Partly sunny, 54 will be the high later today, although our graph says 56. Sunshine, but colder Tuesday with a high of only 41, low at night 25. And then mostly cloudy Wednesday, 49. Rain returns Thursday and Friday.
So are you saying our graph is wrong?
Well, I go by the one that the National Weather Service sends me. So
Gotcha.
since our taxpayer money's paying for it, I thought I'll use it.
You taxpayers.
Yeah.
Coming up in a moment, we'll take a look at news. Taxes were discussed in the news and more just around the corner. But first, let's tell you about our friends at Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, your trusted comfort advisor. Some of what they provide, you get tax credits on. Sometimes the government says, okay, if you buy a new heat pump or whatever, we're going to give you a tax break. Check and see what Accurate has to offer for you in that regard. Heating, cooling, and plumbing, your trusted comfort advisor. Click on this ad anywhere you see it at littermedia.com, and it takes you right to accuratehvac.com.
Wherever you are there for a reason. You shouldn't have to make a trip to the branch just to deposit a check. Skip the trip and use our mobile app to easily and securely deposit checks from your phone. Day or night, wherever you are, or whatever you're doing. Download the Kingston National Bank Mobility app today.
Find a career you love with Pickaway Ross Adult Education. Skilled trades careers are in high demand with no signs of slowing down. Pickaway Ross offers career training programs with expert instructors and hands-on learning tactics to create a variety of opportunities. Visit our website for more information.
Introducing the Petland Litter Media Pet of the Week. We want to put your pet in the spotlight. Pets with paws to pets with fins. If they gallop, crawl, or slither, play fetch, or simply curl up and snuggle. Send us a photo of your pet and we'll announce a new pet each week. And one pet will be crowned Pet of the Year. To nominate your pet, visit littermedia.com. Click on Pet of the Week. Tell us about your pet and be sure to include a photo. Watch Litter Media Live each Thursday for the announcement of the Petland Litter Media Pet of the Week. No purchase necessary.
Contest applications must be from Ohio residents and at least 18 years old.
Haynes Total Health Care Center, located at 1 Health Drive in Chillicothe. It's just off Marietta Road where they're doing all that construction and everything. They offer chiropractic, physical therapy, and nutritional services for you. We'll find out how they help you. Just click on this ad anywhere on our website, littermedia.com. It takes you to HainesHealth.com, where you can learn more about their services, see their doctors, therapists, and more. While you're at littermedia.com, you'll be able to see some of the stories we have for you that we're going to be sharing with you today. Plus, all of our social media contact information, our different platforms are all up in the upper right-hand corner. And you might have seen on our Facebook page and YouTube from Friday, it's the Advocates of the Protection and Safety of Children from Abuse gathered to bring awareness to Child Abuse Prevention Month. The annual Pinwheels for Prevention ceremony was hosted by the Garden Family Advocacy Center, previously known as the Child Protection Center. Throughout the month of April, near the south entrance of Chillicothe's Yoctangee Park on Water Street, you'll find a pair of 12-foot-tall pinwheels with the purpose of shedding light on child abuse. In 2024, there were 1,719 calls regarding reports of abuse in Ross County. Last year, it was in 2023, 1,954. You want to learn more about the Garden Family Advocacy Center? Just click on this on YouTube. You'll find a link. It'll take you right there. And you see a lot of the supporters that were there Friday, braving the elements, because as soon as they got these pinwheels put in the pinwheels that are standing upright, it started raining. I mean, it was coming down. So, again, if you want to find out more, you can call them at 740-779-7431 or find them on Facebook.
State Representative Mark Johnson of Chillicothe was our special edition guest on Litter Media Live this morning, talking about the upcoming vote this week in the House on the state budget. There's a number of concerns that people have about quote-unquote cuts being made, and Representative Johnson addressed one of the alleged cuts concerning libraries.
So I got on the phone, I think Thursday or Friday, talked to my majority leader and asked him, I said, what is the issue? Is any library in Ohio facing a cut? And they said, Mark, we had our committee policy directors put out a document, and there was some mathematical mistakes, and some showed cuts. I think Pike County may have been one of them. And I said, well, here's what I ask. I said, I don't want anybody to be cut from anything from the last budget. And that's the numbers that we base our funding on. And then we got to figure in for inflation. So,
again, the Ohio House votes on their version of the budget this Wednesday, and then the Senate will get the budget as to whether or not they'll make any amendments to it, but it has to be passed and signed by the governor at the 1st of June. Dave Pinkerton and Robin Burno of First Capital Rotary Club were guests Friday on our special edition, talking about their Fairways for Friends, their golf outing coming up May the 16th.
The proceeds from all of our events they all go back into the community. Everything that we raise, it's given back to the community, to several different organizations that, whether it's for food for kids, clothing for kids, the library, we also help the Mighty Museum. We have dollars that go to the Pioneer School, so that we have a lot of different grants that we do in the fall of the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we also, when we started the Buck 50, we were one of the main. Actually, we were the largest sponsor for the Buck 50, and kind of gave Dave Huggins a kickstart when he started. And you know what he's done today; it's just blown up. And but we still continue to support Dave through these grants.
And again, a reminder that May 16th golf outing this year is going to be at Crown Hill up in Williamsport because of the turf work that will be taking place at the Chillicothe JCs.
Cicadas are about to come back, and can't wait for this, right? Residents of Southern Ohio will witness the emergence of the remarkable natural phenomenon in the spring of 2025. The arrival of the brood, and is it 16?
14.
Periodical cicadas. These cicadas live underground as nymphs for the 13 to 17 years before emerging above ground in massive numbers. And why do they come out? So they can have sex, and multiply. Ohio County, and then they die off, and they just, we got to wait for another 14 years or so. Ohio counties impacted this year will be Hamilton, Claremont, Brown, Adams, Scioto, Lawrence, Gallia, Butler, Warren, Clinton, Highland, Ross, Pike, Jackson, Washington, Greene, and the coveted Champaign counties. Fish with a Firefighter, they released this for us on, I think it was Saturday, and they said the first 100 kids to get registered could fish with a Firefighter. I took a look at the page this morning, and it is sold out. So there's an update for you, but those kids will have a lot of fun. They were able to get registered on April 26. The next meeting for the project for streets around Yoctangee Park will be Thursday. This from a post made from Chillicothe City Councilman Jeffrey Creed on his Facebook page, that during the meeting, they plan to review multiple changes to streets and interactions in and around Yoctangee Park. I think I heard euphoria across the Scioto Valley last night because of the mention that they have taken out the roundabout thoughts. That, of course, for many of us didn't make sense, but now they've taken that out. But they're cleaning up the intersection of Riverside, Race, Mulberry, and improving its function. Possible roundabout at Yoctangee and Mill Street, that's over by Chillicothe High School. Changing Water Street from Mulberry to Western, and Yoctangee from Water to Mill to a 3-lane road with 1 lane in each direction and dedicated center turn lane along the entire section. Options to add bicycle lanes and shared usage lanes are included where the road width allows. Still trying to picture that as well. And then options for roundabouts, water and paint, water and Yoctangee have been removed from the project for multiple reasons, which we'll not get into, but I'm sure they will get into at this meeting coming up on Thursday.
If you're a fan of Johnsonville cheddar brats, take a look at the package, and this is what it looks like. It is the 19-ounce sealed firm tray package. About 22,600 pounds of these bratwurst in 10 states, including Ohio, have been recalled because of the possibility they might have pieces of plastic in them. Now, the key is take a look at the package code. If it has B as in boy, 9, F as in Frank, O as in octopus, and D as in dog, you need to either throw it away or take it back. If it does not have that product code, it's safe to eat. I was in a store over the weekend after we loaded this story, and everything that was in the refrigerator was good because it did not have that code on it. But again, make sure that you're diligent if you've purchased this, a week or two ago, to make sure that it does not have that product code. And that is in our website story. So just go to our website.
So if you throw that away at home, that's up to you. But if you take it back,
you could probably get a refund. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if you have to have a receipt.
Oh, yeah.
Who keeps those receipts, right?
I know.
So, details for this is kind of cool because it's one of the stories that Mike's wife likes to participate in. Volunteers needed for the 5th annual Midwest Crane Count on the morning of Saturday, April 12th. So this coming Saturday. I was driving by Lake White Saturday evening, about would have been 5:30 or so, and I saw 2 cranes standing out in the water there at Lake White. They're collaborating with the International Crane Foundation and Ohio Bird Conservation Initiative to conduct the survey. You can go to the link that's found on our social media site, and you see it right there. It looks like oddly enough, it's an owlie link for the birds.
We saw one flying overhead on the way to Washington Courthouse over the weekend. Ross County Heritage Center will be hosting their 8th annual Archaeology Day on April the 19th from 1 to 5 p.m. They'll have a gallery full of exhibits of fossils, minerals, and more from local collectors. You can, in fact, even bring in your own finds to get more information about it from the experts. There'll be games, a lot of different activities going on that day. The admission to Archaeology Day is at the new exhibit is free, and they'll also have visitors there that can see the permanent prehistoric cultures exhibit. So a lot of changes down at the Heritage Center.
It's always a popular event, and saw that they're also searching for kids who are in the junior program at Ross County Historical Society to see if they might want to have a reunion of sorts. So that's an interesting idea for those kids that have maybe grew up in the program and then went off to college. Bring them back so they all get together again. Speaking of gathering, the Earth Gathering Art Festival is this Saturday at the Chillicothe Pump House Center for the Arts in their lawn from 11 a.m. until 6 p.m. Art, music, and food will all be part of the gathering in Chillicothe's Yoctangee Park.
Our road report, other than the fact that there's a lot of high water down in southern Ohio, Scioto County also has a bridge replacement project on State Route 335 between Lucasville-Minford Road and Lyons Road. Work will occur daily. 335 is closed for the duration of the project, and the detour will be State Route 823, which is the bypass of Portsmouth, to US 23 to State Route 32. That project, hopefully, will be completed this fall.
That's a look at the news, and coming up, a look at sports in just a moment. But first, let's tell you about Scioto Valley Dumpsters. If you have need for a dumpster, maybe you've got a lot of your neighbor's stuff that washed into your yard from the flooding over the last few days. You need a dumpster. 740-253-8389 is the number to call. Click on this ad anywhere you see it on littermedia.com, and it takes you to their Facebook page where they keep you up to date with all the stuff going on with Scioto Valley Dumpsters. Each week, we'll announce the Neil Coleman Insurance Wyandotte Mutual Litter Media Player of the Week, presented by Homeland Credit Union. And in December, we'll announce the Player of the Year. Nominate any amateur athlete by visiting littermedia.com and click on Player of the Week. You'll also see the players we've named throughout the year. Make your nomination today for the Neil Coleman Insurance Wyandotte Mutual Litter Media Player of the Week, presented by Homeland Credit Union.
I'm a busy woman, and I'm not ready to slow down.
Tiffany's hip pain was interfering with her career and active lifestyle until she came to the Adina Orthopedic and Spine Institute.
Dr. Meshbach told me about same-day surgery. I said, I want it now, and I wanted it yesterday.
After a successful procedure, Tiffany was home the very same day and on her way back to enjoying the community she calls home. At Adina, we do what we love, so you can too.
As a professional race car driver, I live for speed, power, and performance on and off the track. That's why I use the Dixie Chopper, the world's fastest lawnmower. Race into your local dealership today and test drive a new Dixie Chopper.
Discover Ross County. From the breathtaking outdoor adventures to the historic sights of Chillicothe and family-friendly events and festivals. Explore more at visitchillicotheohio.com or download the free mobile app today.
The Bean Foundation wants to raise awareness about suicide prevention by sharing 988. Trained crisis counselors are available to talk 24/7, 365 days a year. 988. Save the number. Save a life. To learn more about the Bean Foundation, click on this ad on littermedia.com.
Time for sports. A whole lot of basketball still being played, but they're all coming to a close.
Yeah, the NCAA Men's National Championship will be decided tonight as Houston will take on Florida. And that game between Houston and Duke was once in a decade type of game. Duke up by 14 with 8 minutes to go, and Houston came back and knocked them off. So somebody said they're not five slamma-jamma, but they're a team that can really get in your head pretty quick. So talk about getting in your head. Defending national champ South Carolina on the women's side, they got bruised up pretty bad yesterday. UConn back on top after not being there for several years. In fact, not since 2016, but it was their 12th national championship since 1995 as they throttled South Carolina in the title game 82-59.
Gino Auriemma's only loss in the NCAA championship game is to South Carolina, and I think he got retribution there today.
He got some, as Barney Fife says, revenge. NBA action. The Cavs were up most of this game and ended up losing to Sacramento, who's an under 500 team. The Cavs the second best record in the NBA, but that was a Kings night, 120-113.
Good to be king. Weekend scores, wasn't a whole lot of stuff that happened here in Ohio. Most of it was to the south of us.
Yeah. In fact, Adena baseball team went down to the Cal Ripken Experience, they call it, down in Myrtle Beach. And on Friday, they lost to Bethlehem, Kentucky, and Halifax, Virginia. Also Friday at the VA, the only game that was played out there, Zane Trace held on to beat Chillicothe 9-8. I think the Pioneers, who were undefeated, were up 8-2. Yeah. And Chillicothe rallied.
Tied it.
And then the Pioneers win by 1. Then on Saturday, the only game back down at Myrtle Beach, Atlantic Collegiate Academy over Adena, 15-4. And even though we're going to have sunshine for a couple of days, it's still a question mark as to whether some of these baseball or softball games will get played this week because there's been so much rain.
Got to dry these fields out.
Yeah, it's going to take a while, and then rain's back on Thursday and Friday.
Rain can't seem to help the Reds. They snapped their 4-game losing streak with an 11-7 win over the Brewers on Saturday, but then went back into the loss column, falling 8-2 yesterday. But there's Spencer Steer. He had a home run, and I think that might have been his second hit on the season so far. Still bothered by that shoulder. He's not able to be in a position, but he's been the DH here of late. And the Guardians dropped 2 of 3 to the Angels, falling Saturday 6-2. And the Blue Jackets, hopes continue to dwindle. They fell to Ottawa 4-0, and they are, 8 points out of the wild card, but 5 games left, and they're on thin ice.
Literally, they have to win every one of their 5 because Montreal is the last of the wild card. They're 8 ahead. You get 2 per win. So basically, Columbus has to win all 5 of their remaining games, even to have a chance.
And the teams in front of them, like Detroit, the Rangers, and I think the Islanders are ahead of them, as well as the Montreal Canadiens. They all need to lose, but I haven't seen their schedules, so I don't know if they play each other in any of that. So it's a low percentage that the Blue Jackets have. That's a look at sports for you today. And coming up in a moment, we have the Litter Media Wayback Machine dialed up for
1961, with something that might sound familiar to the Scioto Valley nowadays.
Details next.
Also want to talk about our great sponsors from Litter Quality Propane, online propane monitoring and reporting. Know your home's consumption and gas remaining in the tank. Find out more at litterpropane.com.
This is Andy Tomlinson. When ensuring what's important to you, our agents are there when you need us the most. Tomlinson Insurance, for the best coverage at the best cost. Visit us online at tomlinsonins.com to learn more.
Whenever I first applied for the ArchWiz opportunity, do I have to pay this back? Do I have to do that? Is it a loan? And it's not. It's a scholarship. A goal of mine is to graduate college debt-free. If you're a crew member, you get $2,500 a year, and if you're a manager, you get $3,000. And especially if you're going locally to college, to the branch or something like that, it's really helpful.
Life. It can get on top of you quickly, can't it? But with 211, it only takes one step to get connected to the help you need. 211 is always available to help. So get in touch today.
The spring sales event continues for our friends at Hometown Motors Incorporated, 818 Eastern Avenue in Chillicothe. New mowers, riding tractors, starting at $1699.99. This is while supplies last. New zero-turn mowers starting at $3399.99. New walk-behinds starting at $399.99. New chainsaws starting at $279.99. New blowers starting at $199.99 and $229.99 for new trimmers. Hurry in. The best selection, of course, is dwindling because they're going out the door with prices like this. Hometown Motors, your store for the outdoors. Time now for this date in history as we go back to 1961.
We've been hearing a lot about UNESCO here in the last year or two.
World Heritage
designation it's already taken place here in our area. But on this date in 1961, President John Kennedy sends a letter to Congress in which he recommends the U.S. participate in an international campaign to preserve ancient temples and historic monuments in the Nile Valley of Egypt. The campaign, initiated by UNESCO, was designed to save sites threatened by the construction of the Aswan High Dam. And that would not have been good, because that picture you just saw there, some of those statues have been there for thousands of years, and it could have all been wiped out if not preserved by UNESCO.
How about that? Very cool. All right, let's see. We have a special edition of the show for you tomorrow afternoon at 12 noon. The Great Gatsby is the next production by the Chillicothe Civic Theater, and so we'll have in studio with us a couple of actors to talk about that, including Joey Manna. Haven't seen Joey for a while.
Been a while.
I bumped into him at the grocery store a time or two since, but they'll be here. And then later in the week, we have another special edition for you coming up. We'll tell you about that as the days go on.
And we have something to watch out for on our YouTube today.
What is that today?
That's going to be the Markings of History, which is our series that Mike and I are doing about the historical markers that you see around Ohio. The second episode will be out this afternoon.
What's our feature?
It's the one
to find out.
The one in front of Hometown Hibachi.
You can see Mr. Hand's fingers are right there. He's talking with his fingers.
Yeah, that is.
I'm pointing to Mike to complete my thought.
Is that the banking crisis?
That's the banking crisis of 1819. Yeah. And again, thanks to Kevin Coleman of Intrepid Heritage Services for helping us on our first round of 5.
Saw over the weekend that Kevin's back in the hospital dealing with his.
I did not know that.
Dealing with his health issues, but I'm sure he'll bounce right back and be at it again, as an intrepid as he is.
Yes.
That's a look at today's program. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening on Litter Media Live. For Mike Smith and Mr. Hand 2, Aaron Glandon, I'm Dan Ramey. See you soon.